in your life.
The Hebrew word for gratitude means recognizing the good. Hakarat hatov. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I really struggle to do this. It's like my life, my existence flows in seasons. One time flourishing, next time barren. A bountiful harvest or stuck in the middle of a dry canyon and ponder the reasons for the waves. Why can't things stay as they are when all's great? The question posed in return is, can you remain grateful when the depths of the ocean change? You see, in the sunlight zone, we feel the tangible material of God's favor. Like fine silk, the texture of our lives is a sight to behold. The temperature of our minds is perfect for growth. pH level acceptable, nothing below zero. The degrees qualify us for the raise. Face beat, swagged out, bills paid. Hakarat hato. We extend for the goodness of God's favor. But then the waters deepen and the plot of our lives thicken. We sink into compromise, alignment that was self-designed, designed to propel, but rather compels to white lies and subtle manipulation. Hypnotized by the allure of worldly motivations, paralyzed by self-imposed parameters of cultural navigation in the twilight zone of life, where our mess is of our own making. Hakarat hatov. We extend gratitude for the goodness of God's patience. But in the midnight zone, there's no light at all. the water is frigid, the pressure insurmountable. Have you ever been there? Is this at all relatable, where the predators from your past take new form in your presence, and the presence they bear are emotional triggers and spiritual warfare, where the parasites take the best of us and the scavengers take the rest of us? We extend gratitude for God's faithfulness, because you know if God had let you go, the enemy would have snuffed you out. If God didn't tell Satan, no, this is my child, you would have been a goner for sure. The Ancient of Days has been pursuing the heart of man through millennia of pain, waiting on us, wooing us, working through our lives, confined to our retarded pace in the abyss of life, where depression, confusion, brokenness, and turmoil run rampant. God is your confidant, where your family can't handle the truth and the church people would cast you aside, where you struggle to look at yourself in the mirror and in your vices you don't want to abide, where you're disgusted by your decisions and ached by your actions. We thank God for the completeness of his freedom. Trade those dead, stagnant trenches for flowing, living waters. Daughters, lift your head. Sons, square your shoulders. Repent, forgive yourself, let go of the drama and be emboldened. What's the point of being saved if you never get changed? Surrender your will. You've seen the mess it's caused, the fallout. Fall in love with Jesus enough to let him have his perfect way. We give you praise, King Jesus, our greatest blessing from above. No matter where you are in the depths of the ocean today, recognize the good. Hakarat Hatav.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to our first webinar for the year 2022. This webinar is entitled Launchpad 2022. We're excited about what we have prepared tonight for you. We're excited to have you on board. And so we're happy to know where you're joining us from. Now will be the perfect time for you to tell us where you're joining us from. You can comment in the comment section, whether you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or you're on YouTube. Just let us know which part of the globe you're joining us from this evening. All right, so we have one person who is commenting. We're seeing the comments coming in. Hi, Andre, we see you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Okay, great. So that means that you're hearing us loud and clear. You're hearing me loud and clear. So we're going to get straight into it. This evening, I'm your co-host, Tashia James. Along with me, I have another co-host, and she is Nicole
Williams. Hi. Welcome, everyone.
Great. Thank you. So we have a packed program for you this evening. We have some amazing, some phenomenal speakers this evening who are going to ensure that you're empowered and you're packed and ready to go and launch into that dream and that vision that you have. It may be a dream that has grown dormant because of various reasons, and it may be something that you've been thinking about launching. If it's a business, if it's an educational opportunity, whatever it is, you've been thinking about this thing. We're going to help you to feel empowered. We're going to give you the tools that you need to move in the direction. So as I call out the speakers this evening, I'll just ask you to give a little wave so that our viewers can know who I'm calling. We have Mistress Angelina Cotton. Angie, thank you. Thank you. We have Mr. Keon Smith, Coach Keon Smith, and we have Sonia, Mistress Sonia Forrester. Okay, great. So now that you hear the names of these phenomenal people, Nicola, over to you, my dear friend.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining. I wanted to talk a bit about what is Souls of Greatness Empowerment Club. I mean, you guys would have heard what is Souls of Greatness, but you don't probably might not know what it is. So our mission is to empower and impact the lives of women and girls by building and growing an online platform such as this to reach, teach, coach, and mentor women, girls, and vulnerable groups. And so you can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. For any of those websites as you go into, you will be able to sign up for as well for our free membership. So you can find us on those websites. Thank you.
All
And
right. So go ahead, Nicola. Go ahead, please.
yeah, I'm just going to hand it back to you, Tosha.
And at this time, we have our first speaker, first presenter. Her name is Mr. Angelina Cotton, Mistress Angelina Cotton. And Nicole is going to share a little bit about Angelina for you.
Well, yes, I have known Angelina for it seems like it's a very long time since in high school. But a bit about her, she's a founder of We Are Guyana, an initiative created to fan the flames of patriotism with pride among Guyanese everywhere. She's also a committed Christian, wife, and mother who is passionate about encouraging and fostering healthy familial relationships. Anjani is a former co-host of a popular morning show, which we should know about. All of us should know about Guyana Today, and subsequently obtained our masters in mass communication, media, and advertising. Presently, she has opted to be a stay-at-home wife and mom, and as she supports her husband's career demand as an economist. Country pride has always been something Angelina is passionate about, as she desired to see Guyanese be the best, at what they do, and to be proud to bear Guyana's name wherever they go. Now, one of our favorite philosophies for life is to understand the season that you're in, embrace it, and run with purpose. So I'm just going to hand you over to Angelina. She'll give her presentation at the moment.
Hello, hello. Yes, good evening to one and all viewing tonight, the hosts and the fellow presenters. A special thanks to the host for inviting me to share with you my journey in launching We Are Guyana and what I have learned on this journey so far. As you've heard mentioned before, We Are Guyana is all about fanning the flames of patriotism with pride among Guyanese everywhere. Now, how did it come to be? In 2020, during a delicate and important period in Guyana, we all know what that is, that generally occurs every 5 years. That season where emotions of Guyanese citizens run high, as with the nature of politics and people's political views are at odds, and social media exchanges and the climate would surge with pessimism. And like many of us who love our country, whether we are in Guyana or in the diaspora, you want to do something and see something different that would change the narrative of how we are viewed internationally. So, one night, while trying to keep up with the happenings, I perused the comment section of a news network and realized that our image as a country is being further affected. So, I pondered on how we can manage such a situation. As I entertained this thought process, I said to myself, perhaps someone needs to set up a kind of program that can lift the morale of the Guyanese people in this time, and that it's also time for Guyanese to showcase more of the attractive side of who we are. We Are Guyana, therefore, was born out of the desire to see Guyana be represented in a positive light in the media. And besides all of our ecotourism and our popular geographical features, we have so many great things in Guyana and abroad. And how can we showcase this more? So I became very excited and my mind was blowing up with thoughts on what kind of program can be initiated that will focus on reminding Guyanese of who we are and to be proud of that, no matter where we are, or to and just to be proud to showcase our attractive features to the world. So, as I became more and more sucked into this thought process, the idea of starting with a social media page was dropped in my spirit. I grabbed a pencil and a notebook and immediately began writing down all that I was thinking, which led to me formulating a detailed program and incorporating ideas of what kind of content can be shared and the roles that a possible team of people can undertake to ensure success. Now, I have been inspired to start many things before, and sometimes the enthusiasm only lasts a while, and I may even procrastinate on doing them, and the passion wanes. But this one, I felt like it would be a real injustice if I didn't pursue it. So I then sought counsel of some friends and acquaintances who were very excited about the focus of the initiative. They gave advice on how to start and so forth. So the behind the scenes support to launch was tremendous. I also did research on how what setting up a Facebook page involves, etc., etc. And as I mentioned before, I had a detailed outline of what I wanted the social media page to entail. And I felt that this would have been something massive as I hadn't seen much social media activities like what I was planning. So I really envisioned and hoped for a grand start with a bang. But then this is the point where reality plumped itself on me and self doubt began to interrogate my capability and instigated feelings of fear. Because one, prior to this, I had struggled to even keep up with my personal social media account. So I was not a social media expert or a regular poster. Secondly, thoughts of who do I think I am to do something like this? And I also felt like for me to pull off what I had envisioned, I really needed to have a team of people that I didn't have yet. As after several attempts of putting together a team, I realized that this kind of assistance was not going to happen soon. So naturally, the thought of quitting the whole thing seemed better because it may flop without the assistance, considering all the technical things I had in mind, such as video interviews, someone to manage a page, persons to do written features, content creators, producers, video editor, etc. So, in essence, I wanted to quit before I'd launched. But there was one thing: I am not a quitter. I like a good challenge. Also, I know how to fight through setbacks as I've had lots of practice. And as the saying go, Rome was not built in a day, and that every dream begins with one step. So a grand beginning does not guarantee success, and I needed to just start and work with the resources I have in my possession and build from there. But more importantly, the mission of why I wanted to start the initiative was compelling to me. So, after a time of reflection on why we are Guyana, good sense prevailed, and I forged ahead and launched the social media page on December 1, 2020. The road was and still is not always the easiest to travel, but a worthwhile one. And I'd like to share a few things I've garnered on this journey of launching a not for profit social media initiative. One, you must own your passion. Now, I thought when I had approached persons to join me in this not for profit venture that people will be as passionate as me about it, that they wouldn't mind donated time, resources, etc. That, some people will be like, absolutely, I love my country. Yes, I don't mind doing whatever I can to help. But this is not the reality, is not reality, as there may be people available to support, but not in the ways that you have planned, and they may be very well willing, but time does not permit that. These persons have their lives as well that may not permit them to commit to such a venture. So when you have been given a vision for something, it is not realistic to believe that the masses would immediately become as passionate and involved as you'd like them to be. Therefore, you have to run with it for a while and put in that extra work. Encourage yourself in the process until you're able to acquire the assistance that you need. I am grateful that on the way persons came alongside me and support in pivotal ways such as in content production, ideas on how to improve, etc. And I am grateful. Nonetheless, you may have to be your own background vocals, keyboardist, drummers, guitarist or for your band at the start. So the next point is you need to keep sharpening your skills and always improve on your craft. Improve your skills, try to be better than when you start. Because of the type of productions I had in mind, I certainly did not come with the technical skills. I am good with ideas, but I needed help to record interviews, to add intros and outros for the content. I had someone to edit for me in the beginning, but of course, seeing that this venture is a non for profit, it would be difficult to get professionals to donate their already taxed time. So I ventured into video editing and content creating out of necessity. As I committed to it, I realized how much I was learning and I sought to learn and improve at least in one area of every production. Also for the page, I wanted the quality of the content to be good. So investing time to research, doing a grammar check. Most times I would check with my friends who are English pros to ensure I was on target. I believe that one must take pride in what they do and not insult the audience, which leads me to my next point. You will have to invest in your passion. Every cause requires resources, whether financially, time wise, materials, or other to have a good quality product. To do my editing, I've had to invest in a laptop fit for editing, mics, ring lights, payment for ads to promote the page, professional editing, etc. These things require a lot of resources. So if you manage to get sponsors for your nonprofit ventures, that would be good, or else you might have to find some avenue to source it. It is not usually something you can run from unless you have opportunities where you can acquire the necessary things without putting out a lot. And usually, if you don't, someone else must help. As it relates to as it relates to time wise, it is better to invest time in producing quality over quantity. On a social media page, you have to be posting often, at least 3 times per day, to get your algorithm up so that they can drive audience to your page. I felt pressure to this at the beginning and realized that I was devaluing my quality in the process as I started to post lots of links from other pages to bring traffic. But then I said, wait, no, no, no. I prefer quality over quantity. My page may take longer to build, but I wanted it to be something I am proud of when I look back. The next point is to stay consistent and committed to the process. Once people begin to see that you are committed to this venture by your consistency, your persistence, and quality, they may become inspired to come alongside you to support. I am grateful for those persons and my cheerleaders. Thank you if you are viewing. The truth is, some are just looking on to see if we're serious and disciplined enough to throw their support, especially if they're not aware of how you do things. So staying committed and consistent is important. Remember why you start. The truth is, there were times when I wanted to give up on the entire venture because when you make an investment, you want to see the results right away. I expected the audience to grow quicker, more engagement and social media shares for organic productions, more support. But that is the time I had to track back to why I started, to revive my passion. And if you've started just for an audience, like the followers, the love, and the likes, or if you have a business, you just start for the finances or some other external reason, you will give up. But if you realize that the calling is beyond you and is about, in my case, people and country, you will find strength and reason to persevere in difficult times. I also had to remember who my taskmaster was. I believe that the vision was given to me by God, and He must have a greater purpose for it beyond acquiring a large audience. Be patient with yourself. Growth takes time. Try not to become too frustrated when you're not meeting those growth milestones you set for yourself, especially if you're doing as much as you possibly can with the resources available to you. Just remain consistent, avoid comparisons with people who are on similar path, because once you're giving your best, growth will happen in time. So these are just a few out of the many things I have learned, and some I am still incorporating in this process that I believe one day will be more than I intended it to be, as I desire to move beyond the social media page to directly impacting Guyanese in various ways. And I want to leave you with an encouragement I received in my process. Don't wait for people to validate your dreams. Be bold and courageous, as it is better for you to try something and fail than for you to not try and never know what victories or breakthroughs lie behind beyond those doors that you were afraid to go through. So go ahead and launch that thing. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Scotland. That was such a brilliant presentation. And I am for one, and I know we all are encouraged and inspired to start a venture. In particular, I really like the fact that you said, be patient with yourself and growth takes time. That's a very good presentation. Now I'm going to talk a bit about how to launch educational goal. From personal experience, I've studied in Guyana, China, and I'm currently studying in the UK. And I know many of you might probably want to venture into furthering your studies, whether it be a master's, a PhD, or even a BSc. And I think one of the most important thing is to choose your field of study. I was encouraged by Miss James to study economics, and I'm still in that field. And also I prayed about it. So another thing for you to do is to choose a location of where you want to study. For instance, when I was thinking to study my master's, I had a few locations that I wanted to go, and I started looking into those areas. One of the most important thing also is to have a project area. What is it do you want to study? And also to develop a proposal for that project area. Now, if you're looking for scholarship, I would tell you this: Google should be your best friend, and it has been my best friend. And also outlining the type, the area, the area, also the study, the country or the location. That is also giving me some hope and finding my scholarships that I've acquired. One thing I must say is that you may be disappointed or you may not. I have been disappointed, but do not give up. Keep going, because if you have a goal and you have a dream that you want to further your career, further your studies, by God's grace, you will get there if you keep going. And you can see that also in Miss Cotton's presentation. She kept going because that was a vision not only for her but from God, and it's the same. So now I want to introduce you to Miss James, who will be talking about her personal experience in launching businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. I'm going to leave a lot of the business discussion for our expert in this presentation. His name is Keon Smith. He's a business coach. But if I must speak a little bit on this, I was fortunate enough to co-found 3 business ventures, and there are lots of lessons learned. 3 most important things that I learned is, one, just as Mistress Cotton presented, be you have to run with your vision and your dream. No one can be passionate about your dream than you are. Secondly, you have to recognize your niche market. You have to recognize what is it you want to get into. You have to do your research. You have to research your competitors. Have to research what they're doing. Thirdly, you have to think about funding and legalities. You have to decide, okay, if I want to be a sole proprietor, if I want to go into partnership, if I want to incorporate a company. These are things that you need to research and decide how you're going to go forward. So I'm not going to spend too long on that because Keon is going to expound on that. Keon is a director at Action Invest Caribbean Inc. and a certified business coach under the Action Coach Guyana franchise. His academic background includes business management and accountancy. He is a distinguished Toastmaster and an active member of two Toastmasters Club. Mr. Smith is an IVLP alumni, that is the International Visitors Leadership Program, and a member of YLEI. Mr. Smith is also the recipient of the 40 Under 40 Award for Entrepreneurship. So, Keon, over to you, my friend. Keon, you're muted.
That is probably the line of the century for now. So pleasant good evening, Mrs. James. Good evening to all the other panelists and to all the persons who are tuned in online, whether it's on Facebook and or LinkedIn. It's an absolute pleasure to be here to share with you very briefly an overview when it comes to putting your business ideas out there. And I believe this program, this webinar in itself, provides you with a gallon of information from persons who have done it, persons who are experts within their particular fields, to share with you how you can do it as well. So tonight I would like to share a little bit on the business canvas. And as I listened to the previous presenters, they would have gone through very similar activity, noting how to, first of all, stretch out their business ideas so that they can make sure that it actually makes sense. Now, a business canvas, it's a one sheet summary that helps you to, in the choice of a better words, flesh out your business ideas to ensure that it actually makes sense. I encourage persons, especially those who have a new idea and or you're looking to expand on your current idea, to ensure that you put it down on the business canvas. First of all, when you're starting the canvas, I'm going to give you in an order that I have found to be best suited when it comes to mapping out the ideas. And I trust that you will make your notes. For those persons who found other ways that works for them, thumbs up, just do what works best for you. So the first part I would like to tell you to start from is called value proposition. Because when you are deciding to get into a business, apart from it being an idea that you're passionate about, that you feel strongly about, you want to make sure that it's going to be delivering value to your intended customer. So, first of all, it is for us to determine, based on our idea that we have to formulate into this business, what problem are we actually solving for our customers? Once you identify the problem, it doesn't have to be something that is brand new. It could be something that brings some level of improvement or higher level of performance, some change. It has to be something that persons must be willing to pay for. Once you have your value proposition articulated, you then will need to start thinking about your customer segment, and that's going to be number two. Once you know what you want to provide and what problem you're solving, you have to start thinking about who are the persons that will be willing to pay for it. And that means you need to identify your customer segment and or segments. It all depending on what your value proposition is. Keep in mind, you need to have a very, very clear idea that it's going to be more than just your family and friends that you want to be willing to pay for what you have to offer. Once you have your customer segment mapped out, a next question that is very, very key when it comes to formulating this business and our business idea. Would those persons be willing to pay and how much they'll be willing to pay? In what methods would they be willing to pay? whether it's going to be on a subscription basis, if it's going to be cash on delivery, if it's going to be an advance payment. These are all the different questions you will need to answer when you start thinking about your revenue streams. So you start from your value proposition, then you go to your customer segment, then you think about how are you going to be generating revenue for this particular business. Once those three areas are clear in your mind, I would say then to move on. And I will move next on to key activities. It is important for us to start thinking about what are some of the key activities that we will need to perform and or be engaged in order for our value proposition to be delivered to our customers so that they'll be willing to pay us. What is going to be our distribution channel? What is going to be the type of relationship we want to establish with our customers? What is the product going to look like? What is the packaging going to look like? How am I going to be delivering the service? These are all the key activities that are critical when it comes to delivering your value proposition. From your key activities, this will start helping you to determine the channels. The channel means how are you going to be reaching out to your customers? Is it going to be through social media, like our first presenter? Is it going to be establishing a brick and mortar store? Is it going to be having a physical location of some sort? We always have to think about how are we going to be reaching our customers and which is the best and most efficient and effective way to do that. For your different segments, the method or the channels of reaching them may be extremely different. There are persons who may prefer direct contact or direct communication, while others have no problem when it comes to exploring the virtual and our social media space. We have to also think about how do we integrate those channels to maximize on our efforts to actually deliver the product and their service to our customers. From our channels, we will then move into key resources. Key resources speaks about what are some of the key elements that will help us to deliver this value to our customers. It could be the distribution channels we need to pay for. It could be that we need to acquire a land, we need to build a building, or we need to lease the land, or we need to create a website and our Facebook page. All of those are key resources that are going to be critical to reaching our target market or our customer segments. What is going to be our distribution channels and how can we ensure that they are cost effective? So whether that space is physical, it's virtual, or whatever intellectual property we need to acquire, copyrights, etc., it is going to be important for us to list all of those under our key resources. Next, I'm going to touch on our key partners. Key partners are extremely critical when it comes to building your business. As the old cliche goes, no man is an island, and this cannot be more relevant when it comes to establishing a business. Very often, we have this ideology that we need to keep things to ourselves and do it on our own. Unfortunately, that may not be the best strategy to get you the results you're looking for. Key partners will be listed based on the type of business you want to get into, and it may be direct or indirect key partners. It could be your suppliers, it could be other distributors that you might have, it could be licensing offices that you may have to be in contact with, it could be your neighbors. It all depends on your type of business. Those key partners will be listed accordingly. Who are we going to be acquiring our resources from? Who are we going to be using to help us with our channels? It could be our web designer, could be a very, very key partner as well. So, based on the type of business, you will start articulating who are the individuals that are going to be key to your business being successful and for your business being profitable. When you have your value proposition, you understand that you have your customer segment, your channels, your key activities, key resources, key partners. I would then say we focus on customer relationships. Customer relationships talks about how do we engage our customers to manage the expectations that they may have of us and our product or service or good or service. How do we make sure that we have an integrated plan in place to make sure that we can provide that after sales service for our customers, that we can ensure that when they have a query that it is answered within a reasonable time frame, and we don't create disgruntled customers or dissatisfied customers simply because we did not manage our customer relationships effectively. How do we continuously communicate with our customers? And I remember first presenter saying that the algorithm for Facebook uh, posited that you need to post at least 3 times per week for your page to grow. But what she found out very early on, and I'm really happy about that, is that you don't want to bombard your prospective clients with too much of information and don't allow those posts to get organic growth and their reach. So in that way, she would have resorted to focusing on quality, which means she's managing her customer relationships a bit better. Do not be surprised with the number of or the pieces of information we are bombarded with daily. So you adding to that, it might just frustrate your prospects instead of educate your prospects. When we have those components in place, those elements in place, I would say then we focus on our cost structure. Since we understand what it's going to take for our value proposition to be delivered to our customers effectively, it will give us enough information to be able to forecast what our expected cost is going to be, especially when we identify our key resources. Now, I do understand that this is a high-paced overview of the business canvas. For persons who are looking for more information, you like some guidance on it, you can always feel free to drop a message in the group, drop a message to Mrs. James. She can always get on to me because this in itself saves you tons and tons of headaches, saves you thousands of dollars once you can have your business idea make sense on paper before you really begin to invest heavily into the activity. Mrs. James?
Thank you very much, Kian, for that brilliant presentation. I'm also really intrigued with the things that you highlighted here. For instance, one important thing, the key partners is very important. I think mainly as Guyanese, we tend to keep things to ourselves, which is not so good. So key partners are very important. Now, we want to give out two phone cards and based on two questions. And the first question I'll be asking, and this is from Kian's presentation. What is a business canvas? He would have mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation. And so you can put the definition in the chat, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And now I hand over to Mrs. James.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Kian. Thank you, Nicole. Wonderful presentation. We're going to engage you a bit further at this point in time. I am going to ask a true or false question. We're going to keep note of who's commenting, and we're going to award you with your phone card. We're going to make contact with you after the program, and we're going to award you with your prize. So my true or false question is this. In business, you have to remember that no man is an island. Is this true or false? In business, you have to remember that no man is an island. Is this true or false? Right. So as you go through, all right, we see we're having one response, two response. We're having a lot of responses. So the winner of this is Andre Forrester. That's the first response that came through. Congratulations, Andre. We're going to be making contact with you for your $1,000 credit, GT&T or digital, whichever network you're using. Thank you for your participation. So as we move along, we are now at the moment that we've all been waiting for. At this point, we're going to be having our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Mistress Sonia Forrester. Over the past 10 years, she has acquired work experience in private sector. She has found her love for people development. She believes that our ability to clearly communicate our thoughts, ideas, and feelings brings the ultimate rewards in our relationships and interaction. And so invest a lot of her time in developing individuals to become better communicators and leaders. So often she's described as a leader who leads by example. She enjoys serving in the Toastmasters Club program. Presently, she is the divisional director where she oversees and supports 27 Toastmasters Club across Guyana, Grenada, and Suriname. She's also highly qualified. She holds a master's in business administration, a bachelor's of science in social work, a diploma in project management, and she is also a certified speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. Hold on. She also graduated from the Assemblies of God Bible College, and she is the founder of Fit to Shine. In 2016, Sonia was awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster Award, being the youngest Guyanese to do so. Furthermore, Sonia is the training and development specialist in one of the large companies here in Guyana. And this is a field that allows her to live her dream daily. As an assertive communicator, she is driven to inspire, empower, and add value to others. Sonia is growth oriented with strong attention to detail and emphasis on excellence, which has allowed her to achieve set goals. Sonia, over to you. We're excited to have you here. We're excited for what you're going to deliver. So, have your place.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share. I believe that my task here is really to galvanize you all into action. We've heard from some amazing persons who are doing what they need to do to make a difference in the world that they live in. So tonight, I want to ask you, what are you doing to make the difference? The theme of this meeting is Launchpad 2022. So are you ready to manifest your vision and your plans? And if you're ready, I really would like you to communicate that to us here. So type in chat ready. You can hashtag ready. You can just put it big and bold. I want to know, are you really ready to make the dreams and visions and plans that you have for yourself a reality? Picture it. That goal that you've always wanted, the life that you've dreamed of, that moment of excitement that you've worked so hard to accomplish. Are you doing everything necessary to get you there? Tonight, I'm going to share with you 3 mindset concepts that you should be thinking about and cautious of as you work towards making your dreams and visions and plans a reality. And then I'm going to tell you 5 things that you need to be doing from now in order to manifest your visions and plans. So let's get started. I think it has become abundantly clear that in order for us to really move forward in our lives and to make manifest the things that we really want, we've got to become exceedingly clear on what that vision is. Oftentimes, we find ourselves constantly thinking about the things that we don't want. So I don't want to fail. I don't want to sound foolish. I don't want to ask. I don't want to seem as though I'm needy. I don't want to see that particular person. And the more we think about and ruminate on the things that we don't want, what ends up happening? Exactly. Those are the exact things that we attract. So, what I want to give you an idea of, first of all, is instead of focusing on what you don't want, become abundantly clear on what it is that you do want and embrace that positive vision for the life you want based on what you value. So, if you value doing an excellent job, then prepare yourself to do an excellent job. If you value showing up and being ready, then put your best foot forward in order to do so. We are encouraged to use tools and techniques to help us to get clear on our vision. And one of the reasons why I believe that this is exceedingly important is because what we see, we believe. And if we are not seeing it, then it becomes very, very difficult for us to believe it, because seeing is believing. So put up your vision board, become very clear on what you want, and put it in a position that you can see it frequently. The second thing you want to think about as you are navigating through the journey and you're beginning to really launch yourself into that new position, that new job role, that new business venture, that new nonprofit, that new person, that new educational opportunity, be careful of our biggest weakness. You see, there is one thing that can really keep you back from being able to manifest your vision. And that one thing is selling yourself short. You heard me. Self-sabotage. I'm sure you can think about someone who was successful. And I want to guarantee that that person that you know who's successful might have encountered along their journey people who did not believe in their dreams, people who thought that they were aiming too high, people who laughed when they said that I am going to do this really big, really amazing thing. Now, I present to you that you are able to be successful despite all of those negators. People around you don't support your dreams, and you can still make them a reality. But it would be extremely difficult for you to be successful if you don't believe in yourself. Selling ourselves short shows up in so many ways in our lives. Things like not wanting to apply for that job because of that one little line that's a little bit outside of our comfort zone, or not wanting to approach that potential customer because they're too big for us. We consistently do things that hold us back from really manifesting the life that we want for ourselves. The third thing I want you to bear in mind as you begin to launch yourself into 2022 and the dreams and visions and plans that you have for yourself is to be cognizant of what is on your mind. Thoughts are things. When you face a difficult situation, don't say to yourself, I'm going to fail. Say to yourself, I can do this. I can succeed. I am successful. When you're in a bind, when you find yourself faced with a setback, don't think, I'll lose. This is going to be the end of me. There is no way that I can make it out of this. Instead, think, I'll win. I can do this. It's possible for me. I believe I can. When you're competing, don't think, I'm outclassed. Instead, think, I am equal to the best. When opportunities come knocking at your door, don't think, I can't do it. Tell yourself that you can. The crux of the matter is this: the master thought that should be on your mind as you launch forward into that new opportunity is that I will succeed. Say it with me. I will succeed. That thought should dominate your mind. It should dominate your thinking process. And in the midst of your setback, say to yourself, I will succeed. Remind yourself regularly that you are better than you think, because oftentimes we don't hear that from anyone else, and we are our biggest critic. Think big, because the size of your success is determined by the size of your belief. If you believe small, then your success will be small. If you only set goals that you can hit, then you will always hit those goals and nothing else. Believe you can and you will. Master your mindset by getting clear on your vision, being mindful of self-sabotage and selling yourself short. And most importantly, remember that thoughts are things. What we think becomes manifest before us. Now that you understand and you have an idea of some of the things that you should be cognizant of in your minds, I now want to share with you 5 things that you can do to move yourself forward. First of all, in order to make your visions and plans manifest, you've just got to move beyond your own self-limits. Due to the experiences that we've had in the past, the environments that we find ourselves in, and even some of the things that people have said to us, we have decided, subconsciously in some cases, that there is a line to my potential. And this line to my potential tells me that I should only bid to this level. I should only apply for these types of jobs. I should only dream this big. And without knowing it, we have put a lid on our own potential. Think about it. You pay nothing to imagine, but yet still we stifle our imagination because of what others have said or some experience of the past. But I challenge you, just once, take one step over that line. And you will be amazed to see how the way becomes lit for you. It is extremely difficult for you to be able to sit here and understand what's happening over there in the dark when you've never traveled this road before. But it is extremely possible for you to begin from here and take one step at a time and have your life come together before you, because you are willing to move beyond your own self-limits. The next thing that you should do in order to make your visions and plans manifest is take responsibility for your life. If there is someone sitting beside you right now, I just need you to verbalize that, because many times we hold on to those circumstances. We hold on to those experiences of the past and we wait for something to happen. We wait for a big break, or we wait for our friends to support and cheer and champion us. And if we don't get that, we don't take the steps that we need to take to launch forward. No one is going to order you to develop. No one is going to order you to start that business. No one is going to order you to write that application. No one is going to order you to speak to your boss. You, yes, you. You have got to do that. And realizing this should push you into recognizing that you must take responsibility. The third action I want you to take, and this particular action, I want you to begin at once. Stop comparing yourself to others. That is an absolute waste of your time. Let me tell you this. The fact is, if you compare yourself to others, you're either going to find that some people are a lot better than you, and you're also going to find that you are a lot better than other people. So don't waste time with comparison. Trust me on this one. You are going to always find that someone is superior to you, and you're going to find yourself being superior to others. So don't waste time comparing yourself to others. Just focus. Focus on your vision, your plans, your dreams. And if you are moving forward, that is enough. Just keep moving forward. Don't look at someone else who's also on their own journey, dealing with their own challenges. Focus on you. And the fourth thing that I'd like you to do to ensure that you make this vision manifest is to practice one small discipline daily in the area of your vision. When I was younger, I was told, and by younger, of course, I mean about 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I was often told that I have this facial expression that makes it very hard for people to approach me. And after I became very clear on what my vision was, which was to help people and add value to them, I recognized that being unapproachable was not the road that was going to take me there. And so I committed to practicing the small discipline of smiling more often. And I will tell you that the compound effect of me struggling within myself to find that smile now has blossomed into someone who people want to talk to, want to come to, and want to hear from. What is one step that you can begin taking today that will allow you to make your dreams manifest? Don't despise small beginnings. You must start now. And finally, the last thing I want to tell you that you should be doing is celebrate the small victories. There's a saying that goes, motivation doesn't last. And that is so true. You need to keep yourself motivated. There are going to come some times when you're going to have a little bit of a setback. But if you're motivated, you're going to see those setbacks as stepping stones, those failures as opportunity to learn how not to do what you're trying to do. And if you're motivated, you're going to be able to achieve all that you want to achieve. Don't wait for the crowd to cheer for you. Don't wait for everybody else to catch your vision. You run with it. You take responsibility for it. And every time you meet a milestone or you do something that was outside of your comfort zone, celebrate that victory. Because you know what you're doing? You're showing up for you. And that's really all that's necessary. So in making your dreams manifest, tonight, I challenge you to take responsibility for your life. Stop comparing yourself to others. Move beyond your own self-limits. Practice a small discipline every day and celebrate your progress. Pause to acknowledge that you're growing, that you're getting better, that you're evolving into this beautiful person who knows what they want and believe that everything they need is possible. I'm Sonia Forrester, and tonight it was my task to help to move you into action. And I trust that you feel so inspired to write that application, contact that client, make that call, have that conversation, show up for you. manifest your vision. Madam Host.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful presentation, Sonia. I'm certain we've been encouraged, you've been encouraged, our viewers motivated to run with it. You need to run with it. That is what we want you to leave here with. We also want you to leave celebrating the small victories and take responsibility for your life. We want to say thank you. Thank you for everyone who commented. Thank you for joining. Thank you for all of our viewers, our followers. Thank you, our speakers. Wonderful session. At this point, please be sure to follow our page and to keep attuned with whenever we have another presentation. Thank you, everyone, for joining this evening.
Thank you.